Welcome to today's episode of the High Vibe Healers Hangout podcast, where we delve into the transformative conversations that empower you to manifest your dream life. I am your host, Claire Donovan, a high-end manifestation coach, and I am dedicated to helping you align your energy and unlock your ideal life and your fullest potential. Today, I am thrilled to introduce our special guest, Jacquie Mync. Jacquie is a certified holistic fertility coach with over 9 years' experience coaching women, including countless 6 and 7-figure business owners and coaches, with her certification in 16 different healing, wellness, mindset, and health modalities. Jacquie is uniquely equipped to provide her clients with top-notch support on their fertility journeys, guiding them towards natural solutions and holistic well-being. So whether you're on your own fertility journey, looking to enhance your overall wellness, or simply curious about the interplay of mindset and health, you're in for a real treat. Before we dive in, I really invite you to connect with me, Claire Donovan, if you're ready to take a step towards your ultimate manifestations, whether in your personal life or business. Book a call with me or send me a DM and let's explore how we can work together to elevate your journey. So, welcome, Jacquie Mync. Thank you so much for joining me today on the High Vibe Healers Hangout. I would love it if you could share your personal journey that led you to becoming a holistic fertility coach.
Ah, it's been a big journey.
Hmm.
I was a professional bodybuilder.
Oh, wow.
I was a quite a renowned personal trainer in the Gold Coast of Australia, and I I developed a lot of mental illnesses after being a professional athlete. So
Okay.
anorexia, body dysmorphia, you name it, I pretty much have it.
Okay.
Not bulimia though. Yeah, I'd rather not eat than anyway.
Mm.
Um, yeah, so I was in all this mental illness, and there was a fitness professional that said to me, just a friend, he just said, I don't think you realize how lean you are. I'd
Mhm.
like you to go see this fertility lady.
Okay.
And so, and that was back in 2019. And I went to see her, and she basically, what we sent the test away. We te did all the tests and we sent them away, and we came back, and she said, You're not going to be able to have children. The way, like, your health is not good. You haven't got, look at all these test results. There's no chance. Like, it's just impossible right now." And at that moment, I decided that I would use the same mindset that I'd used to be a professional athlete to get better and
Okay.
recover from mental illness.
Mhm.
Because I had this big goal of having a family, right? It's like when you have that taken away, it's like this, oh, what do I do now? Like, I've really fucked up a bit. Um, yeah, so I went to my I dove into a lot of any courses, retreats. I was there, you name it. I was just head first diving into all the things.
Mhm.
And each part of it was like feminine embodiment. And that was a huge thing coming from being an athlete. It was so masculine. So
Mhm.
relearning how to be feminine in this pursuit of conception, right? In this pursuit of having a family. And it took 2 years before I actually conceived. And then my son is now 2.5. And all the things that I shifted in that conception journey, in that journey of reclaiming my feminine essence,
Mhm.
that's what I'm now helping other women with. And that's what's driven me to what I do today. And yeah, seeing the changes in the landscape of fertility and moving from the outsourcing the power, outsourcing the inner strength to
Mhm.
doctors and tests and things. For me, like, I saw the test and it said it was impossible, and I proved all of that wrong. So I know that if you have the inner wisdom and the inner power, it's impossible to, you can do anything.
You put that like so much more succinctly than I ever would, like having inner power. And just like you, by doctors, I was told that something was impossible. Like my recovery was impossible. Like you're never
Yeah.
going to be out of a wheelchair again. And
Yeah.
I just, the way the doctor looked at me, and I understand now that it was most likely an eyesight thing because he was at the
Mm.
computer and I asked him a question and he went, "No, you'll never be the same." And I just thought, well, fuck you. And it's that real fuck you
Yes.
energy that got me, but you put it in a much more ladylike way.
Yes, you're talking my language.
Yeah,
Gone through a similar thing, but obviously not the same thing.
yeah.
But yeah, there's a lot of I talk about this a lot. There's like
Mm,
a lot of outsourcing, a lot of like trust in doctors and trust in authorities that actually have no idea who you are.
yeah,
They have no idea what you're capable of.
yeah, exactly. Sometimes you do need, like, I find especially that I'm much more motivated with the fuck you energy than I am if you're taking something away, you know? So sometimes
Yes.
the universe does send you those people to push you, which I do
Yes.
find incredibly helpful at times, even though in the moment I do not appreciate it.
Yes. Yeah.
So,
Absolutely. They're like, um, they're like angels and guides, like
yeah,
guiding us to the different, our new path, our
yeah.
next path, like yeah, our you know, evolution.
Yeah. And providing real clarity as well, especially if you're not sure or you're self-sabotaging in a way. Like I've always eaten my emotions. I haven't gone down the bulimia route, but I do overeat. And I just, I know that it's a form of self-sabotage, and I know that the human form of me is struggling to process certain types of emotions. So
Mm.
working on that consciously myself feels like an awfully big task, but I do know that I have the power. I have the power to ask for help if I want, but I have the power and I can do it, and I am strong enough to do it. Yeah. So if you don't mind me asking, you mentioned your mental health struggle starting after you stopped the bodybuilding. Now, did you find that it was the lack of competing or the lack of the training or the lack of the structure that you had before that really contributed to it? Or what do you think was the impetus for it?
I think it was definitely like a compounding effect. So
Mm,
like over years of doing it, it's
mhm,
like and when you move from amateur to pro level, it's like I've got all these sponsorships, I've got all these brands, I've got all this fitness gear, all these like things that I need to be lean for, like
mhm,
and look a certain way for. So it's just
mhm,
like it's this continual seeking of the external validation, right? It's like and the gym scene itself and the gym community and being so much in it,
mm,
like everyone around me was like, "Oh, you look great!" Like like there's no problems,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
No one sees it because they're like, "Oh, but it's just the gym and it's just
yeah,
what you need to look like, right?" So constantly getting that external feedback just fed it, right? It just kept it going because there was no like I said, it was only that other one guy that guide guide that said to me, look, I don't actually know if you realize how lean you are. And
mhm,
like it took that to that point. I'd been at I did like a body fat scan, like testing, and it looked like I'd been at 7% body fat for 7 months
right,
of
okay.
2019. So that's like if a normal fitness female is about 15%. So here I am, like well, just over stage weight, just over stage leanness, like. I literally lived through my higher self every day because there was no energy. I
Mm,
lived off caffeine and all the things because I couldn't get through if it was just me.
yeah, okay.
But
But
yeah, external validation is like everyone else is having lots of caffeine. Everyone else is doing the thing. So it's just
yeah,
like just continually feeding it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm.
So whenever you work with clients now, do you find that when people arrive to you, there are common misconceptions that they have about fertility in general?
Yeah, definitely. There's a lot of it really just comes back to what we talked about before. It's like this inner power.
Mm,
It's this outsourcing their power. Oh, this person said this thing said this, and that one said that. And every time they feed those thoughts or actions or behaviors, it's just giving them more of the same. It's like if you're
mm,
feeding into the fear, of course the fear is going to keep coming up. So
yeah.
that's the common thing. It's like I hear from a lot of women, it's like they've tried this, they've tried that, and then but I asked them some questions about the actual body and their like menstrual cycle and like the embodiment questions and how are
Mm,
you with your womb space? What have you done any womb healing? And it's just like they're able to answer no to all of those questions, and it's just like, well, it's easy to start with because we've got lots of resources, but yeah, the misconceptions is that it everything is outside of you.
mm,
Like the you need the testing, you need the ovulation testing, you need the strips, you need to be on these Facebook pages that are all of here, that are literally people just posting their tests and going, do you think it's enough days now? Or do you think and just continually outsourcing their power to this fear.
mm,
Yeah, so it's just this like combined out external energy. It's like where can I similar to the when I went through the fitness industry, it's that external validation. It's like, okay, well, I'm being seen because all these other people are also victimizing themselves.
mm,
um, yeah, and there's limited self-responsibility. You're like, okay, have you heard about holistic fertility? Have you heard about conscious conception? Have you heard about this? And it's just like, no, like, where has this been? Where is this? What is this?
yeah. I I can see how easy it is to feed into that fear and just it becoming a complete cycle because it's just totally natural. Whenever you have no idea about a topic, you're like, I'm going to an expert. And
Yes.
unfortunately, Google has just absolutely fucked things up. And the answers that we really need aren't the top, like, just do what these folks are doing because everything applies to you also. That's not the
Yeah.
case.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I find that also with like even with menstrual cycles, like people there's such shame around this PMS, and it's like, and you go to Google and there's thousands of results of how to remove PMS, how to get rid of your symptoms. And it's like if you had any idea what the archetypes were in your cycle and actually understood that that is such a vital week like of analysis and neurotics, and that's actually a gift because it's a wise wild woman energy, and it's being suppressed by,
Mm,
okay, let's take these pills, let's do this thing that gets rid of it because I don't want to own the part of me that's a wise wild woman. I don't want to own that because I don't want other people thinking that I'm that. So
mm.
anyway, but yes, when you said Google, I was like, oh.
I know, and I'm sure all doctors everywhere are just like fucking Google, because
Yeah.
like that. Well, the internet said, okay, yep, sure. My degree says
Yeah. Well, I
something
think
happened
I
to it.
think some doctors even like use Google
Yeah,
as well.
yeah.
Like they're like, oh, I'm not actually sure what that thing is, so I'm gonna
Yeah,
Google
especially when it comes to general practitioner. But again, you can understand because they're not specializing in one topic, so they're not really diving deep into anything, and they can see anything from a sprained ankle to a woman having 2 cycles in a month,
Yes.
all over the place. And then you can understand that, like, well, let me just refer you to such and such.
Yes.
That's
Yeah.
totally understandable there. So,
Yeah.
are there what modalities are you practicing within your coaching space?
Lots. I'm certified in 16 different modalities,
Oh,
but
wow.
the main ones that I use are holographics. So I've just been certified in the holographic method. And womb healing. They're probably my top two that I go to. And then obviously a lot of master neuro linguistic programs, NLP, to look at those, thoughts, actions, behaviors, what's going on there. And other modalities include like the cycle work as well, which is really important too. I have done a lot in terms of create evergreen courses there, so I don't need to teach that all the time now. But that was something that I dove deep into.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, that's the main ones.
Wow, I thought I was bad getting certified, and I did think to myself, like, are you just learning as a form of procrastination? Because I've got the certification as like you in the masters in NLP and the
Yeah,
life coaching and also the
yeah,
energy healing now. So
yeah,
I was just like,
yeah.
you know what? Maybe you just get some people results and work it out from there. But yeah, I
You
totally
integrate
understand.
what you've learned.
Yeah, yeah, because there are so many different modalities that would just this perfect recipe would suit somebody like you need this, this, and this, and
Mm,
you need
mm.
something else entirely, So I
Yes.
totally get
Yes.
that. But
Absolutely. You just draw on what you need for each person. It's such
yeah,
a, and they come to you for your essence, right? And everything that you've done is in your essence.
yeah.
So, yeah, totally agree.
Well, I can't go on without asking what holographics is because I actually haven't heard of that. It's
It's
surprising.
my fiance actually created it. So
Okay.
have you have you heard of DeMartini?
No.
No, polyvagal theory.
Yes.
Yeah. Uh, and there's a few other things, but what the best way to describe holographics is that it uses all four bodies, so mental, physical, spiritual, and emotional, to create change
Hmm.
in a process. So you go through a process, and then it shifts your paradigm in terms of the way that you saw a certain person or thing or trait.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's vital in what I love it for fertility specifically
Hmm.
is because it's there's unconscious things playing out based on your unconscious family loyalties, like
Okay.
something that your mum does or something that your dad does that could actually be blocking your fertility. And also, like if your partner's dad has some avoidant issues, that might be coming down unconsciously and blocking the fertility as well. So, yeah, it's a vital process for our clients to actually see where they are blocking themselves
Hmm.
in their reality, like in their whole reality that they're completely unconscious to. So once you pull one thread, it starts to pull all the other threads, and it's like, yeah, it's pretty intense.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I always the way you described it there was all four bodies, but I
Hmm.
always like even before I got into the spirituality
Oh,
realm.
there's definitely more than four bodies.
Well, yeah, but I always, because I have had chronic illness for really most of my life, and I would always have to remind people, I'm like, look, physical energy is not just the only energy. It is physical, it is mental, it is emotional. And what was the last one? Physical, spiritual.
Spiritual.
Yeah. And I
Yes.
was like, if I stand here and cut the dinner, I might not mentally be able to have a conversation with you later and think thoughts. So, I had
Yes.
to learn to balance my energy across all four of those.
Yes.
And I really, after speaking with an OT, and she was like, okay, so right now your energy and most people's is like this. And it was like a real roller coaster. And she was like, you want to aim for the middle.
Yes.
And that was life changing for me. It really
Yes.
was life. And it really meant I could turn a corner and because I got very sick in 2009, so much so that I was bedbound for 3 to 4 years, and I was having seizures and dislocations, and it was just constant, and I was exhausted all the time. So it was when I learned that I was able to go from bedbound to just housebound, like foot turned about the house, and then have the wheelchair, then the crutches, and then walking again, and now I'm living in bloody Australia. So like from that doctor saying that I was never going to be different, I really took that fuck you energy to the next level.
Yes.
But it all stemmed from balancing those four energies specifically, because otherwise I just couldn't get through the day.
Yes.
I
Yeah,
find
absolutely.
I
Yeah.
used, I used to specialize with chronically ill people, and that was the biggest thing. They always felt the external pressure
Mm.
of, well, I should clean the house, well, I should do this, well, I should do that. And I'm like, no, you don't have to do any
Yes.
of that shit.
Yeah.
If you're not well enough to have a conversation, don't
Mm.
do it. Just
Yeah.
respectfully go, look, I am really tired right now.
Yes.
There's nothing against you. It's all about
Yeah.
me. I just have to lie in a
Yeah.
heap here right now, you know?
Yeah.
So sorry,
Yeah.
off on one there. What
Yeah.
do you find that there are any like crucial mindset shifts for women on their fertility journeys?
Mm. The number one thing is
Mm,
worthiness.
mm,
Sorry, because um, when women are trying to conceive, or I don't particularly like to use the language trying to conceive because
okay.
it implies that you're trying for a result, but it's not already there.
Mhm.
So conscious conception is the term I like to use. But when
Okay.
when women are in that conscious conception and desiring to expand their family, it's so easy for them to fall into the blame and the it's me. It's like, why isn't it happening? All
Mm,
the things. And the one thing that like I just want all women to hear and know is that they're worthy no matter
mm,
whether they conceive or not. And I think that's a huge thing. It's like it's something that I wish someone told me along the way. It was like, it doesn't matter, it doesn't matter if you conceive or not. You are worthy. It doesn't matter. I think that's the biggest thing. It's the biggest thing with fertility is like you can get so caught up in it. You can get so wound like blaming yourself, getting into, bad patterns that
mm.
just spiral, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. But
I
that
think that
worthiness.
that worthiness is really applicable to most women, no matter what it is they're
Oh,
trying to
yes.
achieve or
Yeah.
consciously receive. So
Yes. Like money.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, anything at
Yep.
all.
Money. Yep. Yep.
So when it comes to like people arriving at your door, so to speak, if you're doing online, you know what I mean.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Is it people that are into this like holistic approach already, or are they currently kind of grasping at another kind of expert to help them and then just discovering a whole new mind-blowing world? Yeah.
Yes. The second,
Yeah,
the
yeah,
second is like they're teetering on the, do I keep following this path that doesn't actually feel right?
yeah,
And then like I'm kind of open to what else is out there.
yeah.
So yeah, that's definitely the people that come in for me is like they or they've done a lot of that. They've done a
Mm,
lot of, and it's not working. So they're open to like, okay, what the hell else is there?
yeah, yeah. Yeah,
Because
there comes a point whenever you're like, okay, I've tried everything else. There is nothing to lose at this point, so
yeah.
let's give it a go. And then the mind gets blown, and you're like, oh, I live in this space now.
But yeah, it's a catch 22 with those kind of people because that there's still a lot of lack and that needs to
Mm,
be worked on mentally and well holographically. So like their whole reality is working out, where that lacks come from to create such scarcity around it. It's like, oh, it's not working. Oh, I'm just gonna
yeah,
throw money at this one instead of that one. It's like, well, no, you're still throwing money at it, and it's
yeah, yeah,
I, it starts uh, the client relationship on the wrong foot as well because if they're relying on the result and it's they've been burned before, they're just going to create being burned by you as well. So it's like,
yeah,
okay, I'll take you on, and we need
yeah.
to collapse that lack and scarcity happening so that you can be fully open and it not attached to the result, right?
Mm.
such an attachment to a result, um, which is yeah, which is what when you're working in conscious conception, it's like actually moving away from, that result will come, and it's about the trust and the surrender and the spiritual side of things. It's like, how can you receive and just have the patience and all the beautiful other things, rather than, okay, this is the result I want and I'm not stopping till I get it. Well, I mean, that works in some things, but it probably doesn't work here. So
Yeah, yeah. You have just described my work as a manifestation coach, and like that, the part where you are surrendering and really detaching from the outcome, though always the biggest hurdle to get over. And even myself, like I know the steps, but it can also, you just hold on tight, because like that's the whole part of manifesting, is like you do have to hold on tight, and you have to have this crystal clear vision, and you have to be so
Mm,
attached to it, and then you just have to let it go.
mm,
And the letting go after you've worked on it and crafted it can be so tricky. So yeah, working with a coach can be so helpful in those cases, especially one trained in NLP that can help you
yeah.
rewire your brain, right?
Yes.
Are you
Yeah.
able to share any success stories or transformations that you witnessed in your own clients?
Yeah, definitely. Uh, uh, with holographics,
Hmm.
uh, there has been people that have come in and they don't want to have children at the beginning,
Hmm.
or well, yes, we've had one gentleman, and it was his dad's avoidance that was causing him to block fertility. So
Okay.
we cleared that up, and they're on the path to fertility now. And we've had another one who didn't. She was calling in her partner.
Hmm.
She got the partner, and now they're pregnant. So that
Great.
was really cool. It's like, um, yeah, that was a really cool thing. And yeah, I've had a number of other clients that have uh, I don't like to be like, oh, they got pregnant, because it's like, no, but that's setting up what we were just talking about. It's like
Yeah,
that
yeah.
chasing the results, right? It's more about actually how they feel and what the process was. So, like opening up the womb space, clearing that out, feeling the menstrual cycles differently because they're not attached to what's happened before. Clearing out birth trauma, all the love those things. Clearing out birth trauma, and then welcoming in new life, right? So it's
Mhm.
like, you're cleansing and clearing to welcome in new life. And I think, and that's been the case with a lot of people, is like this, that they've and, and calling in, their partners and pregnancy and all the things. It's like, because their womb space was clear and clean, ready to manifest, like you you work with as well. It's like that cauldron of infinite possibility inside us as women, and actually just cultivating such a deep relationship with that's so important for women, in this journey of conscious conception, and really getting aligned with their menstrual cycle so much that they
Mhm.
know when they're like, they don't need to do an ovulation test to know when they're ovulating. They know when their energy is spiking. They know when they're in that mother energy. They know when they're most fertile, because they
Mhm.
just feel it, because they've embodied it. They're the real results, because that happens before conception, right? Because
Yeah.
you want to be embodied in all of those things before you can really welcome and create life. Because
Yeah.
I yeah, it's just I can't, because in my journey I did the embodiment first, but I know that there are other women that, they've actually had child first, and now they're doing the embodiment work for the second one. So
Okay.
that's even really more beautiful, because it's like they realize that like it was just the stars aligned for the first one, but now the second one, hey, it's a little bit harder. So
Mm.
what else is it? Like, and you ask, and they're like, oh, I don't know when I just test for my ovulation. I'm like, well, but but it's a feeling and it's embodiment, right?
Mhm.
So I think, yeah, that's a huge win for the clients, is actually really embodying their own bodies and preparing to create life and welcoming life in,
Yeah.
and also then having the courage to create, a different birth that they want as well. So yeah, it's big.
So, in your experience, do you find that people who are starting their conscious conception, if they have been trying all of these other things, do you find that the stress of all that has a massive impact on fertility as well?
Absolutely. Yes, definitely. Stress is a huge thing.
Hmm.
And what we were just touching on before about the embodiment and actually just returning back to the feminine essence and the feminine nature can just be the thing, right? That can be the first thing that unlocks that stress just a little bit more. It's like, how can we add more pleasure and play into your life and take away the stress? And actually, that that's part of the manifestation that you would work with as well. It's like, just how can you be at a higher vibration that you're just welcoming in this rather than stressing about it and
Yeah.
externalizing it, right? It's like, how can I take my own power back? How can I take my own embodiment back? So,
Mm.
yeah, that's how I would answer that. Yes, stress, yeah, is very prevalent, and it's about how we return back to our bodies and how we can journey that actually really offsets that.
Yeah. And are there any like strategies that you would have to help people who are really feeling the effects of stress even before they approach you as a coach or anybody else?
Yeah, definitely. Like breath
Mm.
work, meditation. Uh, yeah, that would probably be, and dancing. They would probably be three things that are just straight away that you can do that you don't actually need like qualifications. You don't need a
Yeah,
master,
yeah.
but they're stress release. Like you can do breath work, you can do dance. And what was the third thing I said? Um,
Meditation.
Meditation, yeah. So that's, you just put that on Insight Timer or Spotify or whatever, and you can
Yeah,
get something, 5, 10 minutes or sound bowls or something. You can find anything on Spotify.
yeah.
Just go do that or have a dance and, shake it off. And yeah, that would be my main thing, is like that, the returning back to the body. How can we return back to the body? Well, the breath, movement, and, returning back to that, like inner peace as well, which
Mhm.
is in the body.
Yeah. And what significance then would you put on self-care in the context of women on their fertility journey?
Mm. Great question.
Mm.
Yes, it is a priority. Something I talk about a lot is because I work with a lot of business owners and entrepreneurs,
Mhm.
uh, and other coaches. And what I find is that the amount of time that they're spending on business strategies is not the amount of time that they're spending on fertility producing
Mhm.
activities, which I would call self-care, right? Or I would call rest,
Okay.
scheduling rest,
Mhm.
honoring your cycle, those kind of things that are deeper than self-care. It's actually like, what are you doing day to day that is planning and allowing for the cycle
Yeah.
and embodying that, and actually making the space. But if you're going to create a family, you're going to need space for that. If you're so busy with your business, of course you're blocking it, like, because you're not creating the space to have that extra time, extra family. Like, so
Mhm.
yeah, that's a big piece for that, is like self-care, but in a way, like the space, I say, like space for fertility, creating a space for fertility, and whatever that looks like. It doesn't have to be self-care. It can just be rest. It can just
Yeah.
be nothingness, right? And it can just be meditation. And yes, of course, those things will fall under self-care, but yeah, I like to call it fertility space, because you're creating that space for fertility to come in.
Yeah, and it's not just physical space, it's energetic space, which you get through rest and doing those meditation and the clearing and shaking off any
Yes.
outdated frameworks that you've been stepping into consciously every day or unconsciously every day. So particularly if you are stepping into it as a business owner, like I find
Mm.
myself that coming out of business owner to partner back to business owner really absolutely messes me up, which is just something you get from working
Mm.
from home. So I have to be
Yes.
much more conscious of the frameworks
Mm.
I step into and out of each day. And I make sure I consciously step out of something if there is another thing coming up next that deserves my full attention, just so I can create and honor both energetic spaces,
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. That's absolutely exactly what I just explained. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So, what are the top three things that you wish every woman knew about fertility?
Mm. Top three things. I think we've like really touched on it before.
Mm,
Uh, but the definitely the menstrual cycle embodiment. Like
mhm,
that is, if you don't know how to embody that, if you don't know, that's my first say. Uh, yes, cycle embodiment.
mhm,
And that'd be the first thing. And the second one would be look at the whole like holographics, because looking at your reality, it could be something completely unconscious that like dates back to your dad that does something like, yeah. So it's just like being open to exploring the rest of your reality rather than just, it's just about me. It's like, oh, it
mm,
actually could be something that I've inherited, or something that's popped up over here, or something that's triggering me over here that could be blocking. And the third thing is uh, conscious living. And what I mean by that is uh, like two pieces in conscious living: internal, which is the thoughts, behaviors, and actions. I think we've talked, like we did touch on this before, but like, what you think about, you bring about. And if you're in these Facebook groups that are all about fear and like suffering and victimizing and like I'm not pregnant yet. Like, you're just seeing that constantly, like seeing the failures and things constantly. You're feeding your mind and your thoughts and your behaviors with that. So
mhm,
actually being conscious of that internally and also externally, like what products are you using? What water are you drinking? All the like the little pieces that you just look around in your external environment. What is yeah, what skincare are you using? What are you bathing in? Like all the different things that actually could be wreaking havoc with your hormones
mm,
and your uh not just like not only your hormones, but also like sperm quality can also be affected by all of the external
mhm.
chemicals, plastics, all the things. So yeah, that would be my top three things.
And you just mentioned just everything in the external reality.
Yeah.
What role would you say then nutrition plays in your holistic approach to fertility? I'm sure that's a big thing.
Yes, yeah, that is definitely part of their like external conscious living, right? It's like
Mm,
being conscious of the nutritional value of something, being aware of whether you're having whole foods or processed foods, like it just simple nutrition basics.
yeah.
Um, and yeah, moving away from processed to more whole foods and uh, just being more mindful and conscious, right? You're living a more conscious life,
Hmm.
aware of what you're consuming and what you're using. So yes, consuming is in the nutrition as well. So yeah.
Yeah, it, it really seems to be the answer to a lot of things. Is going back to whole foods and really paying attention. And if it comes
Mm.
packaged, then just don't eat it. Or
Yeah,
very limited quantities if you can't do that. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. And like I even I was just going through one of my like I don't know what to call it, like it's like a storage box that has some like cosmetics and things that I don't really use that often. So it's just kind of like up in the wardrobe. And I was like, oh, I might get some like I think I've got some cocoa butter, and I thought it was a natural cocoa butter, and then I turned the ingredients over, and it's got like alcohol, benzol, blah blah blah, and I was just like, what? I thought this was natural, and it's just
Yeah.
like it's actually having the awareness to look and
Yeah.
having the awareness, like with food as well. It's like having the awareness to actually look what is inside of it. Now, there's seed oils, are there like canola oil? Like, what is it made of? Is it has it got lots of, yeah. So we could go on and on
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just being actually like, okay, I'm going to look at that. Or I'm going to like choose to go to the organic markets once a week, and I'm going to
Mm.
actually get all my fruit and veggies organic, and then choose to have more like grass-fed meats, or like just making those like the more aware that you become, the more aware you become, right? So
Yeah.
it's like you step one foot in and then you'll find something else, and then you'll
Yeah.
find something else, and just being open to that commitment to being like living in conscious harmony with not only yourself, but the environment.
Yeah. And just a bit of advice if you're an absolute beginner, don't get too overwhelmed. Just take it
Yes.
one thing at a time and then like
Yes.
knock that out of the park and move on to the next thing. Like don't try to do
Yes.
everything all at
Great.
once.
Yeah, great, great point there. Very important not to get overwhelmed with everything. There's a lot out there, so it's just like bringing it back to what little changes can you do. And like I said, with more awareness comes more awareness. And so if you're doing one swap or you make one change, then maybe it's two changes, or and then it'll just open up, and like suddenly you'll see more things and go, okay, maybe I won't have so many Tupperware containers. Maybe I'll just
Yeah.
switch to some glass stuff. And then like it doesn't really work for me because I have 2.5-year-olds. So I have some I have some BPA free plastic stuff, but only for safety purposes.
Yeah. Yeah. Don't want that glass shattering everywhere. Oh, do you see at the minute any particular trends in the kind of the holistic world of fertility help,
Mm.
and no matter what it is, like it could be a naturopath or what are the other options? Like interviewed an
Homeopathy.
aromatherapist as well.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So are there any specific trends just to watch out for? Not just like your modalities, but other ones that are popular at the minute, I suppose.
Yeah, I think uh I'm a very intuitive person. So
Mhm.
uh, I myself would give the advice that if you're called to some kind of modality or some kind of person that's going to guide you, go that way.
Mm.
But just also being aware of who you choose, or
Mhm.
like what kind of practitioners you're looking for and what kind of help.
Mhm.
Because there's a there's a fun line between fine line um,
Mhm.
between practitioners that will, give you one supplement once and that's it. And they'll
Mhm.
be like they'll support you and not actually over give you things,
Mhm.
right? And then there's the other line that's like, oh, you need X, 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 X. And then it's all of a sudden you're spending thousands of dollars on supplements. And also then that's still externalizing your power, right?
Mhm.
So I'm just mindful of like if you're really called to something, yeah, do that. But also it's like as long as you're owning your own inner power and you're doing the inner work to also clear things, then you may not even need those things, if
Mm.
that makes sense. Mm.
Yeah. Well, if somebody is still giving their power away and they're not working with a coach or anything, is there anything that you would specifically advise them to do to reclaim that power so that
Mm.
they can intuitively decide with a bit less fear and lack?
Yeah, I mean the reclaiming your power just starts with, tuning in. Does this feel good? Does this not feel good?
Mm.
Like actually looking at what your compass is providing you, because it's always giving you answers. And it's just a matter of, are you asking the question? So
Yeah.
that would be my number one thing, is to reclaim your power, is actually just to tune into to what's a yes for you, what's a no for you. Does this feel good? Does this feel like the right thing? Or
Mm.
does this feel a little off? Do I need help here? Do I need support? Like how like what do I need? There would be my best questions that you don't need a coach for, is like that you can actually just ask those questions and be like, okay, this feels good, I'm going to follow that, or this doesn't feel good, I'm going to cancel that or not do that.
Fantastic. Yeah, that's perfect, especially if somebody is listening to this and they're in the middle of their journey and they have been seeking external validation for so long and they're just feeling a bit stuck. That's an excellent way to kind of
Mm.
reset to before they move forward and
Yeah.
just pick up the next step, you know. So if somebody wanted to work with you, how would they get in touch with you?
The best way is through Instagram. My handle's at Jacquie Mync. Yeah, I've got a lot of free resources on there as well that can be consumed at any time. I've
Right.
also got an online experience happening next week, which is free, which is a womb experience. So a worthy womb experience. So that's also really good. I'm not sure when this is going to come out, but it is next week, November 26th. But there'll also be a recording of that too. So if this
Okay.
podcast comes out after that, that will also be available on my Instagram in my links.
Oh, fantastic. That's great. Well, thank you so much for joining me today. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Hey, thank you. Thank you. It's been great.
Wow, thank you so much for today's enlightening conversation with Jacquie Mink. I hope you enjoyed it. Her insights into fertility and the power of mindset are so invaluable well, for anyone on a fertility journey. If you find this episode inspiring, be sure to subscribe to the podcast, the YouTube channel, Spotify, wherever you are watching or listening, and share it with somebody who might benefit from the advice contained. And remember, if you are ready to take the next step in manifesting your ideal life and transforming your life, I invite you to book a call with me or send me a DM. Together, we can unlock your potential and truly create the ideal life that you have always dreamt of. So until next time, keep shining bright.